You know, what's really disturbing to me is I've been doing this YouTube channel for a long time. I've never introduced myself. That's unacceptable, and I want to apologize for that. Let me introduce myself and then transition in today's topic. Hey, I'm Jeff McMahon, and I want to tell you 3 things about myself. Number 1, I'm a watch addict. For me, buying a watch, the craving to buy a watch, is like a person who has a craving to smoke a cigarette. Thing is, watches cost more than cigarettes. They don't cause lung cancer, so there's that. So, here's the thing, man. I'm wearing a Seiko Tuna SBBN031. This is my nicotine patch. Whenever I crave buying a watch, I put this on and I go, okay, calm down, big boy. You can get through this, brother. Come on, put on your big boy pants. And this is definitely a nicotine patch for me. I always want to watch. I've had to distance myself. I won't lie to you. I crave a watch right now. It's a G-Shock Twisted Metal, the Metal series. I think it's MTG 1000. There's the one with the rubber looks good. The one with the steel bracelet looks good. Loving it. It's Bluetooth. It's atomic. It's probably easier to set than the ones that have the 4 buttons and all the modules. Blue, yeah. So I am a watch addict. I'm currently wearing my nicotine patch because I have the type of personality that just my addictive tendencies, they take over. Second thing I want to tell you about. I am a worrywart. I worry constantly. Let me tell you something. When I was 5 years old, my grandma Mildred, we were in our apartment complex, the Royal and I apartments. My mother was ill for a year. She was hospitalized for a year. And I don't remember what I was worrying about. Maybe, will dinner be served at 6? Something like that. And she said, Jeff, you worry too much. I'm 5 years old. My grandma Mildred says, I worry too much. You know what my response to that was? Oh my God, I worry too much. This is a new thing to worry about. Oh yeah. So I've always worried all my life. Worry about body image. Body image, man. Check this out, man. When I was 5 years old, I would read comic books. Mighty Thor, The Incredible Hulk, my 2 favorite superheroes. I wanted to have muscles like those dudes. I've always been into having muscles. Always worried that if I took a vacation and didn't work out, my muscles would shrink. Body image. Could you imagine if I were a teenage girl in 2019 on Instagram? I mean, Instagram is pretty much, its primary function is body shaming teenage girls. Could you imagine with my worrywart tendencies where that would go? Bad scene, man. I got my nicotine patch on right here, man. Whew. So, third thing I'll tell you about myself. I am a critical thinking college professor. I teach critical thinking to Americans. Look at America. Look at the complete absence of critical thinking. Look how America is just this giant fat belly larded with logical fallacies. So America, I failed. You hired me to teach critical thinking. I failed. I apologize. It's all my fault. So those are 3 things I wanted to talk about myself, because I've never introduced myself, and I realize that's unacceptable, and I want to apologize for that. So here's today's topic. Free stuff. I want to talk about how getting free stuff is terrible under 4 conditions. Condition number 1. When the recipients of free stuff are ungrateful, free stuff is a horrible situation. Free stuff is absolutely horrible. Don't get into free stuff. But listen to this. 2 of my students, smart, hearts of gold, they told me they worked in a health center that offered free services to people. My students told me over the course, they quit the job after about a year. Both of them, they worked together. After a year, they couldn't do it anymore. They actually gave up on the human race. They became misanthropes. They said the patients who were receiving free services were rude, belligerent, and ultimately insufferable, and stripped the love of humanity out of my 2 heart of gold students. What's the solution to that, man? I don't know. But that's something I want you to think about. Number 2. My students wrote an essay about should community college be free. You know, they go to a community college. I teach at a community college. 99% of them said no, it should not be free, because they know that if our community college were free, the product would be severely compromised. Free stuff is terrible. Imagine all the money at our community college, or most of it, would go to making tuition free. What would that do to hiring full-time teachers? What would that do to the quality of the teachers? My students also said, I don't want to sit in a classroom with a bunch of people who are going to college because it's free. It's going to be jacked up, McMahon. I don't want to do it. 99% of them know that free community college would be a nightmare. I think they're onto something. The product would be seriously compromised. So they wrote another essay about universal basic income. And here, free is terrible for another reason. Here, free is really more of a bribery. It's really more of a shut up money. Universal basic income is shut up money because society could not employ half of the population. Mass unemployment due to artificial intelligence, robots, automation. So they're just going to shut you up, give you $1,000 a month. You can just live in your mom's basement, watch Netflix all day, eat Hot Pockets. Here's some shut up money. Don't cause any crime. We don't have a job for you. There's no meaning in your life. There's no purpose in your life. Here's your UBI. So when free is shut up money, it's terrible. When free compromises the product, it's terrible. When free has recipients who are rude, it's terrible. You know, free is terrible. I'll give you a last example. Jaron Lanier, a futurist, he says, when it comes to your digital content, you want to spend money. You don't want free stuff. And he uses the example, where would you rather be all day? On Facebook, which is free, or Netflix, where you pay for your content? Well, most of us, myself included, would rather be on Netflix. You want to pay. There are hidden costs to the free Facebook. They're just data mining you. As Yuval Noah Harari says, data is the new real estate. It's the new property. Data is the #1 commodity in the world. So when you're on Facebook, which is free, you're actually giving up data, the #1 commodity in the world. So when free has a hidden cost, it's really not free. Free is terrible. And maybe all of this is just a variation of a cliche. You get what you pay for. Am I dishing out cliches? Well, if I am, that causes me a lot of worry because I don't want to be the cliche guy. So, you know, free stuff is bad. UBI, free healthcare, when it's compromised like that. What do you do to lift the standards of free stuff? I mean, there are people who need free healthcare, but what's the solution? How can you have the product at a good enough level and the patients at a standard of conduct so you can make it an acceptable situation? I don't have all the answers. I just know that I'm very leery of free. So that's my presentation, ladies and gentlemen. Finally introduced myself. I've got my nicotine patch on. I'm going to go work out, try to look like the mighty Thor at the age of 57. Try not to go on Instagram and where I will be subject to body shaming. Tell me what you think of free. And until next time, I'm out.